Okay, here we go. So this morning we are taking a look at math and the world of nets. What is a net? We're talking about surface area. We're talking about how much space something takes up. So let's look at something basic. Okay, we've got a piece of paper. This piece of paper is anyone? Bueller? That's right, a rectangle. Okay, it's thin. It's a rectangle. This a little too big for the screen, is also a rectangle. However, it is a little different because it has a little more shape. So we have a piece of paper, which for all intents and purposes we call 2D, and this box, which is a 3D shape. So the premise is that there's lots of little 2D pieces that go into making up a box. So if you think about all the parts that go into this box, let's back up a little bit. If you go into this box, we think there's a side here, there's a side here, there's a side here, there's a side here, and there's one side on each end. So let's just label up this box, okay? So we've got Honey Nut Cheerios, the best of all Cheerios, arguably. The Honey Nut Cheerios I've experimented with, and Honey Nut Cheerios is not one that you can afford, that you should buy knockoff brands. They're just nowhere near as good. So we're going to call this side A. We're going to call this side B. We're going to call this side C. We're going to call this side D. We'll call this side E, the top. Now I've taped these closed so that, they're a little bit easier. No one would eat cereal like this, but that's okay. What were we at? A, B, C, D, E, and F. Okay, so this cereal box, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides. Okay? Still with me? Good. So now if we were to take an X-Acto knife and cut this apart, we would be able to see that there's how this box goes together. So I'm going to cut, say, right along this top side. It doesn't matter where for this net, but I'm going to cut it along the top side. Okay, trimming down. Now, you have to give me a little bit of slack here because I'm actually going to pause this while I cut because that seems like a better choice. Okay, so here we are. We're back. I've cut this apart. I'm glad that I did that off camera because it was super awkward. So I've loosely taped it together. We have our box, okay? So I have cut across here. I've cut across here, here, and here. So I've disconnected 3 sides. I've also cut on this side here. I've cut on the top, on the side, and on the side, disconnect 3 sides. So now I can open this up, and I have, now cereal boxes have these weird little tabs on the top to kind of hold it all together, but, in an actual shape, we would imagine those don't exist, so let's just cut those out for our purposes. Okay, so now we've got a net. It's big, but if we wanted to look and see what were the different parts of that net, we could take a look at our shapes. So we've got a side here. 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 And we've got a side there. Okay. And if we were to re-look at how we labeled those, we went A, B, C, D, and then we labeled one side E and one side F. Okay, so now if we wanted to build those all back together, we fold it together, we fold it together, we fold it together, and now we have, instead of 2 big flat rectangles, 2 skinny and long rectangles, and 2 shorter and long rectangles, we now have 1 3D rectangular prism. Okay, if all of our sides were the exact same size, this would be that's right, a cube. Okay, so we'll take a look at a couple other things in the panned out, and we'll look at it like that. But a more exciting way to take a look at this is through this awesome website. You have to have a printer, but maybe you could figure it out, called QBCraft. And on QBCraft, they have this delightful option where you can take a look and print out your own. Oh, look at that baby Yoda. You can print out your own nets. If we see, it just looks like the exact same as our not pizza box, as our Honey Nut Cheerios, the king of all Cheerios. As we look at that box, we have our sides A, B, C, D, E, and F, and we would cut this out and we would fold them all together to make ourselves. Now, would this be a cube or would this be a rectangular prism? The bottoms and the tops, all sides are the same, but on here, some are longer and some are shorter. So this would be a rectangular prism. We could take this cute little baby Yoda and we'd cut him out and we can make him into a little creation. So I'm going to go do that. And then we'll come back and we'll take a look at how to draw out these cubes, take a look at it on paper. Okay, we've got our baby Yoda. Here we go. I decided I'd come back. So we've got our net A, B, C, D, E, F, G, or however you wanted to label it. All we've done is we've taken this flat shape and we're folding it in. So I'm going to take this piece and fold that bottom in. And QBCraft has these little tabbies. So, you know, just like the cereal box has tabs, because otherwise, I mean, if we just cut the shape apart, it works. But if we're trying to put these back together, it wouldn't necessarily work. If you were doing something like welding, you know, and you had all the different shapes, you could put them together and you could, you know, weld the corners, or you could use tape on the corners or something like that. But in the world of folding paper, we must have, you know, tabs. So baby Yoda's almost ready. He's got his sides together. He's gonna get the tops. Now, there we go. There we go. Oh, look at that baby Yoda. Oh, so cute. Finishing features. Here we go. Get those ears in. Baby Yoda. You could have your very own baby Yoda. Check out the QBCraft. Oh, I'll play with the ears a little bit more. Yes. So these are how to do nets, or these are some examples of nets. Let's go to the lesson and see what they look like there.